The anime industry is huge right now. Thanks to COVID lockdowns, anime blew up in the last 5 years or so. In 2020 alone, 100 million people watched anime on Netflix, up 50% from the year before. So where has that left us now?
利益が現場に届かず、低賃金が常態化。
やはり大変ですね。
アニメ界に来たら金は安いし、入って半年ぐらいで辞めちゃう。アニメの現場っていうのはもう崩壊してるんじゃないかな。
Oh god, what have we done? I feel like we made jokes about studios like Mappa using slave labor and keeping their animators from their families, and behind every joke lies some truth. So how much truth is behind these jokes? A lot. Unreasonable hours, inadequate pay, straight up abuse, all of this just so we can call a show mid and move on with our lives. Today I want to open your eyes to what's going on behind the scenes to your favorite shows, how the hands that craft these frames are being treated, and pose you with the question, is it worth it? Alright, quick rundown of how an anime is made. Generally speaking, from a manga adaptation, that is. First, the studio gets the rights, then they work with the manga author to write the script and storyboards that stay true to the source material. Next is character design, making sure everyone looks consistent across the scenes. And then comes animation. Usually there are two main types of animators, the key animators and the in-betweeners. Key animators handle big stuff, fight scenes, major emotional moments, the budget went here shots. Think Tengen vs Gyutaro or Saber Alta vs Rider. In-betweeners fill in the gaps. Dialogue scenes, background motion, connecting frames. They keep things flowing, even if the animation is more limited, like repeating frames or just moving mouths while the rest of the story stays still. After that, or sometime during, the voice actors record their lines. Then everything is pulled together in post, editing, music, sound effects, and all that good stuff. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, let's get back on track with the real topic of the video, the problem. What is actually happening to make me make this video? Japan has very harsh working conditions, long hours with little compensation. This is just how Japanese work culture is. Overtime is very common and pretty much just expected. I mean, Japan is very big on their values, one of which is that it's disrespectful to leave work before the boss, as it's disrespectful to the hierarchy. Now I'm gonna chill out on the background stuff because some of it actually isn't relevant to animation, but we'll get there. The Nippon Anime and Film Culture Association, which I'm just gonna call NAFCA for the rest of the video, is a non-profit aiming to improve work conditions in Japan and the entertainment industry. They conducted a survey fairly recently to confirm whether the connotation that we have given the animation industry was based on fact, so let's go over some stats from that. First, the working hours. Now remember how I said Japan's working hours were already long? Regular Japanese office workers put in about 140 hours per week. Animators, over 220. Some report working 10 plus hours a day, 6 days a week, with just a handful of days off each month. So for example, that's like working 8 AM to 6 PM, 5 days a week. Let's say you have a 15-minute commute, which let's be honest is probably more than that for a lot of people. So let's just say you get up at 7 to get ready in the morning and get to work by 8, which again is a lowball figure. Getting home by let's say 6:30, probably need dinner, so I mean at this point you're running out of time for yourself, let alone maintaining your home and personal health and hygiene. While this is technically only weekdays, this same survey reveals 58% of respondents to have only around 6 days off per month. Let's think here, a month generally has more weekends than that, doesn't it? So that's the hours. What about the pay? Many animators are freelancers, which basically means they're independent animators who have no long-term contract with the studios they work with. With this comes many cons for the animators employed. First off, the income stream is incredibly unstable this way. There's no hourly rate or monthly salary. Animators are paid per frame illustrated, which can often be as little as 200 yen per frame, which is about $1.30 in US dollars. Under this, many studios may expect revisions and redraws to be unpaid. With this lack of job security, there is absolutely no company benefits. In Japan, it is common for a contracted employee of a company to be enrolled in a social insurance, which essentially covers them for paid leave in case of illness or any other reason, as well as health insurance, pension plans, etc. Freelancers aren't really covered at all. Like, if they're bedbound sick, they lose a day's pay. Speak of pay, as I said before, the pay is significantly lower, even than that of a contracted animator, and there's nothing freelance workers can do about it. As they are independent parties, they aren't covered by Japanese labor laws, meaning they can be made to work more extensive hours, less days off, and of course being paid per frame means no overtime compensation. This also means there is nothing really stopping a company from laying off a freelance worker with no notice or time to find another job, and the freelancers don't really hold the power to pursue a legal action. Let me just touch on one last thing briefly. The NAFCA survey found that 65% of animators had experienced harassment, 85% had witnessed it. Most of it comes from power trips, supervisors bullying and intimidating workers to meet impossible deadlines. However, sexual harassment, including unwanted comments or advances, were also reported. All of this feels like the icing on top of this messed up cake, solidifying the life of an animator in Japan as a bad one. Low pay, unreasonable hours, and straight up harassment in the workplace, making this job sound miserable. So why do animators do it? I mean shit, if someone told me all that about a job I was about to start, I'd be out the door. It's actually pretty simple. Passion. Quick, what's your favorite anime? Think about that anime and just imagine how cool it would be if you had made something in that anime. Whether it be a background art or an in-between frame or something in a real anime that you can say you created. I mean, this mindset applies to anything. You like music? Imagine you produced an instrumental for your favorite artist's new drop, or you drew the banner or a profile picture for your favorite YouTube channel, edited a video for a company you love. I'm sure you get the point. Anime studios recognize this passion and almost take advantage of it. They make these animators work for dirt cheap, work long hours, no compensation or congratulations for their work, and yet there are always animators wanting in. Bottom line, they don't care about the pay. They're doing what they love, and if doing what they love means barely making it home each day before bed, just scraping by financially, copying abuse from supervisors, then that's just the life, right? At least they can say they had a hand in something big. That's all that matters, right? All that really matters is that we get our episodes each week to watch. We don't care about the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. We just care about seeing Yuji fight Mahito or Eren save the world or whatever he does in that show. Notice how they're both mappa titles? Yeah, you really thought I was just gonna yap and not give examples? Thought I wasn't gonna mention specific people's cases? Because they are people, by the way. I feel like fans forget that sometimes. You think I wasn't gonna go over the consequences of this high pressure? Dead wrong. Let's get to it. In April of 2019, Terumi Nishii, a well-known anime director who worked on huge series like One Piece, Pokemon, and JoJo's, made headlines after tweeting a simple warning about working in the anime industry. Nishii's Twitter account is no longer active, but the tweet originally said, "No matter how much you like anime, it is not advisable to come to Japan and participate in anime work, because the animation industry is usually overworked." In an interview with Tokyo Scope, she speaks on her experience with the industry, saying she believes with the drastic increase in animes being produced since she started, with the amount of contracted staff staying relatively the same, it results in overwork of existing staff. Nishii even said 2 of her senpais died in their 40s, which is incredibly young, overworked being the cause. She said many had heart attacks and aneurysms because of the unreasonable workload, which in my eyes is just fucked up. Sorry to be blunt, but I don't really see another way to describe it. I highly recommend you guys go check out this whole interview. I'll try to remember to link it in the description. Hokuto Sadamoto was a freelance animator who worked on Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, who was reportedly hospitalized due to mappa work conditions and hours, yet another case like what Nishii talked about. But there's another side to this one. Before being hospitalized, Sadamoto tweeted about feeling responsible for JJK's animation quality. One tweet read, "Everyone is not trash like me. I'll make up for it in my future work. Until then, I will live my life as the worst animator who has ruined a masterpiece." This type of negative self-talk definitely what led to such stress, and possibly the hospitalization. Mappa is definitely responsible in a big way for this type of mental attitude, so let me outline one more example. Honhon also worked on Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, and tweeted saying that even after he had met the absolutely unreasonable turnaround period for the animation, the higher-ups basically told him to go back and do it all again. Now yes, I'll be the first to say that JJK Season 2 did seem to have a more inconsistent animation quality than Season 1, but can I be real? I kinda liked the animation a lot. Even if it wasn't what Mappa hoped for, it still looked good, and when you hear about these types of conditions, it makes it all the more impressive. All this stress, this crazy hours, this barbaric, unreasonable stress put on animators comes from the higher ups at the studios, and it's taking its toll. I couldn't find any statistics specifically of just how many suffered physically and mentally, but there are countless examples. Vincent Chansard, Kazunori Mizuno, Henry Thurlow, all affected by these working conditions. You can look them up. They're not just nameless workers, they're real people collapsing under pressure. All for what? For the higher ups to ask them to do it again? This is absolutely appalling and seriously can't go on like this. So what's actually being done? We have groups like NAFCA and JANECA working on these problems. Even the UN is aware, but awareness is still low, and that's why this video exists. I mean, the whole reason I'm making this video is because most people don't even know that any of this is happening, or at least don't know that it's this extreme. What can we do? Just raise awareness. I hope this video does well, not just for me, but so I can spread some information on the subject, so hopefully you have a better idea and maybe learn something. If this video taught you something, share it, post about it, talk about it, because if more people knew how bad things are, maybe we'd start to see a change. Thanks so much for watching. I know this video was heavy compared to my others, so thanks for sticking around. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing for my next video. I got some big stuff planned. Stay safe out there. See ya.